Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak about a subject that may challenge your heart and mind. The types of people you should not help. Yes, you heard me right. While compassion and generosity are virtues we must nurture, wisdom teaches us that not everyone is ready to receive the help we offer. Misplaced help can exhaust your energy, waste your resources, and derail your purpose. When it comes to helping others, it's crucial to understand that your assistance can only be effective if the person you are trying to help is willing to take responsibility for their own life. The willingness to take responsibility is a foundational principle for personal growth and transformation. Without it, any help offered becomes futile, and instead of lifting the person, you may find yourself dragged into their cycle of stagnation. The unwilling are those who consistently refuse to acknowledge their part in their struggles. They blame others for their problems, point fingers at circumstances, and make excuses for their lack of progress. They see themselves as perpetual victims of life, believing that the world owes them something. This mindset creates a barrier to change because, without taking responsibility, they cannot take ownership of the solutions that could improve their situation. When you encounter an unwilling person, you might feel compelled to step in and fix their situation. It's a natural human reaction to want to help someone who appears to be in need. However, helping someone who is unwilling to take ownership of their life often leads to frustration, disappointment, and a sense of wasted effort. No matter how much time, energy, or resources you invest, it will never be enough because they lack the drive to take meaningful action. The truth is, willingness is a door that only the individual can open. No one else can force it open for them. You can present opportunities, offer advice, and provide resources. But if the person refuses to engage, all your efforts will fall on deaf ears. The unwilling often expect others to do the heavy lifting for them. They want someone else to solve their problems. But they are unwilling to put in the work or make the necessary sacrifices to change their circumstances. This creates a dynamic where they become dependent on others rather than empowered to take control of their lives. Helping the unwilling can also have a negative impact on you. Can drain your emotional energy and consume your resources, leaving you feeling depleted. It's like pouring water into a cracked vessel. No matter how much you pour, it will never hold. Worse yet, the more you help, the more they may come to rely on you, perpetuating a cycle of dependence. This is not true help. It's enabling. True help empowers someone to stand on their own, not rely endlessly on others. Helping someone who is unwilling can distract you from other opportunities to help those who are ready and eager to grow. Time and energy are limited resources, and it's important to use them wisely. Every moment spent trying to help someone who refuses to take responsibility is a moment taken away from someone who is ready to embrace change and take action. The unwilling also have a tendency to resist advice or solutions that require effort on their part. They may acknowledge their problems, but only to complain about them rather than address them. They may even sabotage the help you offer, either intentionally or unintentionally, because they are not prepared to leave their comfort zone. Change is uncomfortable, and the unwilling often prefer the discomfort they know over the uncertainty of growth. This is why helping them becomes a losing battle. It's important to remember that willingness is a choice. It cannot be forced or coerced. The unwilling must reach a point where they decide for themselves that they want to change. Until they make that decision, no amount of external help will make a lasting difference. They must be ready to acknowledge their role in their situation and commit to doing the work required to create a better future. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces that fuels growth, healing, and progress. When a person is grateful, they recognize the value of what has been given to them. And this recognition inspires them to use it wisely. However, when dealing with the ungrateful, the dynamic changes entirely. The ungrateful do not acknowledge the effort, sacrifice, or resources that others extend to them. They treat help as if it is owed to them, and in doing so, they devalue both the assistance they receive and the person offering it. Helping the ungrateful can quickly become a draining and unproductive experience. These individuals often fail to see the opportunities that help creates. Instead, they focus on what they perceive to be lacking. Even when given significant assistance, they are quick to find faults or complain about what they didn't get, rather than appreciating what they did. This mindset creates a toxic loop where no matter how much you give, it is never enough to satisfy them. It's not that they lack resources, it's that they lack the perspective to value those resources. The issue with ungratefulness is that it blinds people to the blessings in their lives. Gratitude opens the door to transformation because it allows a person to recognize the tools, opportunities, and support they already have. Without gratitude, even the most generous help will fail to create lasting change because the recipient will not use it effectively. Ungrateful individuals often misuse the help they receive, squandering resources and opportunities because they do not see them as valuable. This not only wastes your effort, but also perpetuates their cycle of need. Ungratefulness creates a sense of entitlement. People who are ungrateful often believe they deserve what they receive without any effort on their part. This entitlement can lead them to make increasing demands on you, expecting more and more without ever showing appreciation for what has already been given. They may even begin to view your help as an obligation rather than a gift. This entitlement not only places an unnecessary burden on you, but also robs them of the ability to take responsibility for their own growth. Another issue with helping the ungrateful is that it can create resentment on both sides. On your end, you may feel unappreciated and taken for granted, which can lead to frustration and bitterness. On their end, they may feel dissatisfied or even resentful, believing that your help was insufficient or inadequate. This tension erodes the relationship and defeats the purpose of helping in the first place. Gratitude is a mindset that must come from within. It cannot be forced or taught through external assistance alone. When you help someone who is ungrateful, you are not just dealing with a lack of appreciation. You are dealing with a deeper issue of perspective and mindset. Until that mindset shifts, no amount of help will lead to meaningful change. The ungrateful person will remain stuck, unable to move forward, because they cannot see the value in what they already have. It's important to understand that gratitude is not about saying thank you. It's about recognizing and valuing the effort and intention behind what has been given. A person who is truly grateful will not only express their appreciation, but will also use the help they receive to improve their situation. They will honor the gift by taking action and making the most of it. In contrast, the ungrateful will dismiss the help, complain about it, or misuse it, ultimately rendering it ineffective. When you help someone who is ungrateful, you are not empowering them. You are enabling their lack of appreciation and reinforcing their sense of entitlement. This does not serve them or you. Gratitude is the foundation of growth because it shifts the focus from lack to abundance. Without it, even the most well-intentioned help becomes a futile effort. One of the greatest barriers to personal and spiritual growth is an unwillingness to learn. The unteachable are those who resist guidance, reject correction, and cling stubbornly to their own ways, even when those ways have proven ineffective or harmful. Helping an unteachable person can feel like trying to fill a cup that is already full. No matter how much wisdom, insight, or instruction you offer, it will have no place to settle because they refuse to empty themselves of pride, arrogance, or preconceived notions. The unteachable often operate from a mindset of defensiveness. They see advice or correction as criticism and respond with excuses, deflection, or outright rejection. Instead of seeing an opportunity to grow, they perceive a challenge to their ego or authority. This defensiveness makes it impossible for them to receive help because they are more concerned with protecting their image than addressing the underlying issues that hinder their progress. In this state, even the most well-meaning assistance is perceived as an attack, and the person helping is often met with resistance or hostility. Another trait of the unteachable is a refusal to acknowledge their own limitations. They believe they already know enough, or that their way is the only way. This attitude creates a sense of complacency where they stop seeking knowledge or wisdom. It's not that they lack the capacity to learn, it's that they lack the humility to admit they need to. Without humility, there can be no growth. And without growth, any help offered becomes an exercise in futility. Helping the unteachable is particularly frustrating because it often feels like talking to a wall. No matter how clearly you present a solution or how much evidence you provide, they will find a way to dismiss it. They may even turn the situation around, blaming others for their struggles or shifting the focus away from their own behavior. This refusal to take responsibility ensures that the cycle of stagnation continues, and any effort to help them ends up being wasted. The unteachable also have a tendency to surround themselves with people who reinforce their current mindsets. They avoid those who challenge them or push them toward growth, opting instead for the comfort of like-minded individuals who validate their perspective. This creates an echo chamber where they remain trapped in their own limited understanding. Even when help is offered from outside this circle, it is often ignored or dismissed because it doesn't align with their established belief. A significant danger in helping the unteachable is that it can lead to frustration and burnout for the person offering the help. When your efforts to guide or support someone are consistently rejected, it's easy to feel discouraged or even question your own approach. However, the issue lies not in the help being offered, but in the recipient's readiness to receive it. Helping the unteachable requires far more energy and patience than helping someone who is open and willing to learn. Over time, this imbalance can drain your resources and divert your focus from those who are genuinely ready to grow. The unteachable often mistake stubbornness for strength. They believe that holding on to their ways, even in the face of failure, is a sign of resilience or independence. However, true strength lies in the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow. The refusal to be teachable is not a mark of strength, but of fear. Fear of change, fear of being wrong, or fear of letting go of what is familiar. Until they confront and overcome this fear, they will remain stuck, unable to move forward no matter how much help they receive. For help to be effective, it must be met with openness and a willingness to learn. Without these qualities, even the best advice or support will fall on deaf ears. The unteachable may hear your words, but they will not listen. They may see your actions, but they will not follow. Their growth is not hindered by a lack of help, but by their refusal to embrace it. Envy is a corrosive emotion that destroys relationships, disrupts personal growth, and blinds people to their own potential. When you help an envious person, you often find that your efforts are met with resentment rather than gratitude. Envy distorts the way people see the world and those around them. Instead of focusing on what they have or what they can achieve, envious individuals fixate on what others possess, creating a toxic cycle of comparison and dissatisfaction. This mindset makes it difficult for them to truly benefit from the help offered, because they cannot see it as a blessing. Instead, they see it as a reminder of what they lack. Helping an envious person can be an emotionally draining experience. These individuals are often unable to celebrate the success or generosity of others. Even when you extend a helping hand, they may view your actions with suspicion, believing there is an ulterior motive behind your kindness. They might interpret your willingness to assist them as an assertion of superiority rather than an act of compassion. This distorted perspective makes it almost impossible to build a healthy dynamic, as their envy clouds their ability to accept help with an open heart. The envious tend to harbor a sense of entitlement that further complicates the situation. They believe they deserve the same success, resources, or opportunities as others without acknowledging the effort, sacrifice, or discipline required to attain them. This entitlement often leads to a dismissive attitude toward the help they receive. Instead of seeing it as a stepping stone, they view it as insufficient or inadequate, comparing it unfavorably to what others might have received. This comparison undermines the value of your help and discourages you from continuing to offer it. Another challenge in helping the envious is that their focus on others' successes prevents them from recognizing their own potential. They are so consumed by what others have achieved that they fail to see their unique strengths and opportunities. Even when you try to guide them toward their own growth, they remain fixated on competing with or outdoing someone else. This mindset is counterproductive because true growth comes from within, not from measuring oneself against others. Until they shift their focus, no amount of external help will lead to meaningful change. The envious often sabotage the help they receive, either intentionally or unintentionally. Their resentment toward the success or position of the person helping them can manifest as passive-aggressive behavior, lack of cooperation, or even attempts to undermine the very assistance being offered. This self-sabotage stems from their inability to separate their feelings of inadequacy from the act of receiving help. Instead of seeing help as an opportunity, they see it as a reminder of their perceived shortcomings, which fuels their envy even further. Helping an envious person can also put you in a precarious position. Their jealousy may lead them to gossip about you, criticize your motives, or undermine your reputation. Even though you are trying to assist them, their envy creates a barrier of mistrust and resentment that makes it difficult to form a positive and productive relationship. This toxic dynamic can leave you feeling unappreciated and frustrated, questioning whether your efforts were worth it. Envy is not just an emotion. It is a lens through which envious people view the world. This lens distorts reality, making it difficult for them to see the good in others or the opportunities in their own lives. They are often trapped in a cycle of negativity where their envy feeds their dissatisfaction and their dissatisfaction fuels their envy. Breaking this cycle requires a fundamental change in perspective, one that can only come from within. Until they are willing to confront and overcome their envy, any help offered will likely be misused or unappreciated. The envious do not lack resources or opportunities. They lack contentment and self-centeredness. Their fixation on others' success blinds them to the blessings and potential in their own lives. When you try to help someone in this state, you are not addressing the root of their struggle. Instead, you are pouring resources into a mindset that will ultimately reject or devalue them. This makes helping the envious a challenging and often unproductive endeavor, as their envy prevents them from truly receiving the help they need. Manipulation is one of the most subtle and damaging dynamics that can arise in relationships. Manipulative people are skilled at disguising their true intentions, using deception, guilt, or flattery to achieve their goals. When it comes to helping others, it is critical to recognize when someone is manipulating you because not every need presented to you is your responsibility. Manipulative individuals often exploit your kindness and generosity, creating a dynamic where you feel obligated to meet their demands, even when doing so compromises your well-being or priorities. A manipulative person rarely asks for help directly. Instead, they use tactics that make you feel as though you have no choice but to assist them. They might exaggerate their struggles, play the victim, or appeal to your sense of guilt to compel you to act. This form of emotional coercion places an unfair burden on you, as it forces you to take responsibility for their problems in ways that are neither healthy nor sustainable. Over time, this dynamic can leave you feeling drained and even resentful, as you realize that your efforts are not being valued or reciprocated. One of the hallmarks of manipulative behavior is a lack of transparency. Manipulative people often have hidden agendas that they do not disclose, using their requests for help as a means to achieve something beyond what they claim. They may ask for assistance under the guise of genuine need, but later use your help to further their own selfish objectives. This lack of honesty undermines the trust required for a healthy and productive relationship, making it difficult to provide meaningful support. Manipulators also tend to use help as a means of control. When you assist them, they may exploit your actions to create a sense of indebtedness, making you feel obligated to continue helping them in the future. This cycle of dependency ensures that they remain in control of the relationship, dictating the terms of your involvement. In this dynamic, your help is not empowering them, it is enabling their manipulative tendencies and reinforcing their ability to exploit others. Another common trait of manipulative individuals is their tendency to ignore boundaries. They often push for more than what is reasonable, disregarding your limitations or priorities in the process. They might make you feel selfish or uncaring if you try to establish boundaries, using guilt as a tool to break down your resistance. This lack of respect for your boundaries creates an unhealthy imbalance in the relationship, where their needs consistently take precedence over yours. Helping a manipulative person can also lead to feelings of frustration and confusion. Because they are skilled at shifting blame and twisting the narrative, they often make you question your own actions and intentions. They might accuse you of not doing enough, or suggest that your help is inadequate, creating a sense of self-doubt that makes you more vulnerable to their influence. This psychological manipulation not only drains your energy, but also erodes your confidence in your ability to help others effectively. It's important to understand that manipulative people are not necessarily looking for solutions to their problems. Instead, they are looking for ways to maintain control, avoid responsibility, or achieve their personal goals at the expense of others. Even when you provide genuine assistance, they may reject it, criticize it, or twist it to suit their narrative. This behavior ensures that the cycle of manipulation continues, as they never truly engage with the help they receive in a meaningful way. The danger in helping a manipulative person is that it often comes at a significant cost to your emotional, mental, and even financial well-being. Manipulators are not concerned with how their actions affect you. Their primary focus is on achieving their own ends. This lack of regard for your well-being creates a toxic dynamic where your generosity is exploited rather than appreciated. Recognizing this pattern is crucial to protecting yourself and ensuring that your efforts to help others are directed toward those who genuinely value and benefit from them. Manipulative people thrive on the willingness of others to step in and solve their problems. But this does not lead to their growth or empowerment. Instead, it perpetuates a cycle of dependence and exploitation that ultimately serves neither party. True help should encourage responsibility, independence, and mutual respect, none of which can flourish in a relationship dominated by manipulation. Recognizing when someone is manipulating you allows you to redirect your energy toward those who are ready to grow and who truly appreciate the support you offer